all the people. All right. Welcome in, CrossFit Leveling fam. This is week 2 of our goal setting course. Really excited to share about today. Last week we talked a little bit about your perfect day and sort of what that looked like and what it is that, kind of setting the foundation of what you want to get out of your life, right? I think, a lot of us say like, hey, I want to have $1 million when I'm 40, or, I want to live on a beach or an island or whatever. Like all of that stuff is great and that's fine. But, I think for us to envision what our day actually consists of, I think that is more important, and that sort of breaks down our goals better. Because you can have $1 million, but if you're unhappy, I personally feel like that's not living our perfect life or more fulfilled life. So we're going to get into it here in a sec. Today, we're going to talk about how to be more resilient. That's going to be our core value number 3. Resiliency for us is really important for several reasons, especially as we're sort of achieving our goals and becoming who we want to become. There's going to be so many times that we want to just give up and we just want to say like, no, this isn't for me, or no, I'm not able to. So, for us to become resilient, it just allows us to, be stronger, be more dedicated when we deal with obstacles, and if we want to live our perfect life, it's going to be hard, right? I mean, if our perfect life is what we're already living now, then we got to maintain that. However, I can probably speak on behalf of everyone watching this video that you want much more from life than what you have right now. And so when we talk about being resilient, how do we deal with those setbacks? How do we look at our, say, speed bumps, and how do we bounce back? And essentially that's what resiliency refers to, how well you can deal with and bounce back from the difficulties of life. And this stretches across all facets of life. It can mean the difference between, handling pressure or losing your cool, or if, somebody's yelling at you, how to, be calm. Resilient people typically tend to maintain a more positive outlook. And obviously it's not speaking on, say, toxic positivity. It's just speaking on how resilient people can always see the good in any situation. And, when we talked about the confidence last week and we talked about failure, I personally gave examples of how failing gave me more lessons than succeeding. And in that same breath, it wasn't just learning the lessons from them, but it was just having a more positive outlook about, shoot, this gym is shut down for COVID and I had to work my tail off to keep it afloat. Now I'm going to work my butt off to hire phenomenal coaches, create a phenomenal program to where it is pandemic proof or, recession proof. And that was sort of what propelled me into this next phase. Is I just didn't want to have to deal with, thinking if the gym was going to shut down again, or if I was going to have to close for good. And honestly too, when you learn to have a more positive outlook on anything that happens in life, you're typically going to be able to handle stress a lot more. And for us, stress is a piece of lifestyle that we feel is often overlooked. We all want to exercise. We all want to eat right. We all want to sleep and get water. But stress and stress management plays a huge role into not only just your mental health, but your physical health, emotional health, so all across the board. And kind of in that same breath, kind of like we touched base on, internal dialogue can affect our resilience. How we look at a situation or outcome can sort of dictate how we react. How we speak about these situations or these obstacles or the outcomes also can dictate sort of how we react. So as always, thinking of an obstacle as an opportunity to grow rather than a failure can help us develop this positive attitude. And again, the words that we tell ourselves can also help us to develop a positive attitude. For example, how to be more resilient with words. We're going to do this in the goal setting, but even just changing I want to I will. I want is, I want $1 million, or I will have $1 million. Which one are you more convinced with? And again, this is just you listening to me, but now you start to tell yourself these words and you start to believe them. I can't changing to how can I? I can't get a pull-up. All right. How can I get a pull-up? Now that second option is now giving you action and giving you permission to act on it just instead of giving up. Saying I get to, not I have to. This one's huge, right? Unfortunately, death always puts life into perspective for me. And so whenever somebody passes, I'm like, man, they are done. They don't get to do anything else. I think about it. They don't get to go out on a walk. They don't get to take their kids to school. They don't get to call their parents. They don't get to go on vacation. You know what I mean? These chores that we think are chores, right? And I'm not saying I get to do dishes and you're just so happy. Like, no one likes doing dishes. If you like doing dishes, you're crazy. But it's just changing that mindset of I get to instead of I have to. And this one's kind of corny, I feel-ish, but it does help a lot. Saying I'm growing through instead of I'm going through. Whenever you say I'm going through, that just gives you that victim mentality instead of I'm growing through, meaning that you are in charge of whatever situation is happening to you. You're growing through this. You're working through this. It's not happening to you. Life is too hard, or sorry, this is too hard. And change that to this may take some time. Again, that's in that same lines with I can't. This is too hard. You already just gave up. As soon as you say this is too hard, you've given up. Instead, when you change to this may take some time, this gives you that edge, that gives you that action that you need to take for you to give yourself grace as you're continuing to fail, but you're not letting that just dictate. And then the last, but my favorite one ever is life happens for me instead of life happens to me. This is that victim mentality we talked about. And that victim mentality does not breed positivity. It's all negativity. We all know, or we all have been around those people who are just toxic, that are just always negative, that especially now with the pandemic and vaccines and mandates and stuff, all they want to talk about is the negative things in the world and everything is happening to them and why life isn't fair. Where these resilient people, these things that are happening to them, it's happening for them. It's giving them an opportunity to learn, to grow, to sort of just branch out and maybe even evolve. Through the pandemic, the biggest thing I kept seeing was crisis creates creativity. Sorry, mouthful. But it does. Like when you're in a crisis, you can either be a victim and just lay down and just be done, or you can get creative and be resilient and overcome and learn from it. So we have three ways sort of how we like to be more resilient. Option one is just accept challenges. As we discussed, you need to start looking at your failures for ways to improve and lessons to be learned. Learn to grow from the mistakes rather than view them as a negative reflection on your abilities. When you step into a challenge and it's unknown, you don't really have that idea, or you don't really have perspective on what's going to happen, right? You've never done this before, so how are you going to know what the outcome is going to be? And the more that you accept these challenges, the more willing that you're able to push through them and not just give up. It is scary. It is always scary, that first challenge. But once you start to do it, it becomes easier and easier and easier. I always refer back to the pandemic because I feel that was probably one of the hardest things I think I ever had to do. And that was probably one of my biggest growth pieces. But instead of me just saying like, guys, that's it, we're just going to shut down the gym and we're going to freeze your memberships and we're just going to see what happens. Like that would have been too easy. I would have just sat at home, twiddled my thumbs, relax, hung out, wait for the government to bail me out. And then what? Instead, I accepted it as a challenge. I was like, how can I add more value to the gym? What do my members need? And that's essentially how Build and Flow came about, because I wanted to give you guys more options for workouts every single day. So we had a CrossFit, a strength, and an endurance. Lots of love from that. And it was hard coming up with new workouts every single day. But because of the positive response, I was able to add that into our class, into our weekly workout routine. And now it's one of our most popular things and unique things ever. But it was because I accepted the challenges and I decided to say, this isn't going to dictate how I react. And it allowed me to be more resilient. And now we have a much, much better product from it. Second option is commitment. So it's funny, I actually just saw a tweet I had put out last year today. Commitment is more than just showing up consistently. It's having the intention every single time you show up. And the way that I phrased this in the tweet was, consistency is how frequent you're going, or the quantity. And the intention, though, is the quality. So you can be consistent. You could show up to school every day, but you can still get bad grades. And that's the best way that I like to put it. So it's holding yourself to that standard of intent when you're committed to your goals, your relationships, friendships, habits, anything in life. When you are committed, it's more than just showing up, it's giving 100%. And now you might achieve these goals, and we have some time frames in these goals as far as 1, 3, 10-year goals. But if that intent isn't there, you're probably going to miss the mark. And if your perfect day is in 10 years, I want to be able to, so mine, for example, is in 10 years, I was wanting to celebrate my 40th birthday on an island in a big villa with my closest friends and family. And that's my vision, right? I want to be able to build a gym that I could step away for a week, build a business that fulfills me financially, and create friendships that I want to spend a week with on this very special occasion, because that's important to me. But if I'm not taking those actions and taking those steps, and if I'm just going out with friends and just hanging out with them, if I'm just running my business just to keep the doors open, I'm never going to get to that point. So it's that intent in everything we do in here. And as we start to write out our goals, it's all about the intention of the goals. And then the last thing, and my ultimate favorite, is personal control. Always ask yourself, what can I control? So it's the idea, once you got a white car, now you see all the other white cars. Or once you got a blue Buick Park Ave 98. Now I see so many Buicks rolling around town, and they're all old people, but whatever, that's not the point. Where you put your focus and attention is, that's what you're going to see most. So now learn to spend your time and energy focusing on situations you have control over. I don't really have much control on what the government does. I have control on educating my members and my community on how they can be more resilient against any disease or any viruses. So those who spend time worrying about events outside their control can often feel helpless and powerless to take action. And that's pretty much it, because now you're letting other people dictate the outcome of the event or how you should feel of the outcome of the event. So always ask yourself, what can I control? Out of every situation you see in life and every setback, what is it trying to teach you, and what can you control? If you can't control the situation, control how you react. 100% biggest lesson I learned and I still love. So now the boring stuff's over. We're going to get into goal setting. So goal setting 101. So someone smart once said, dreams become goals when they're written down. So in the Google Drive where all of these documents are, we're going to give you guys, you can either print it out. Sorry, there's a document in there. You could either print it out, or you could download a copy, whatever works for you. But we recommend putting pen or pencil to paper when you write your goals. It's very therapeutic. It just allows you to sort of jot down ideas. You're not just staring at a computer screen. It's a little more organic. Throw on some dope music and just work towards it. All right. If you want, we would like to ask for a copy so we can keep on hand when we revisit these goals in the future. I personally would love to sit down and chat about all of your goals with every single person in here. I would love to make some time for that. I think it is important for us to kind of talk through it and work through that so I get a better understanding of what you need. But if you don't want to share, that's totally fine as well. 100% fine. Second, look back at your perfect day. What are the goals you need to work on to achieve this perfect day? So the same sort of idea, the same idea that we talked about was that, I broke down what I wanted to do for my 40th birthday. And once I broke those down, I knew I needed to create a great business, both financially, fulfillment, and with coaches. I needed to create a solid friend group or family group that I would love to take on those vacations. So now you start to break those down, and now we turn these into habits of who we wish to become. There's a reason that we spent time working on the perfect day. And so we need to be able to break that down and see what we have to do to achieve it. So here's some goal setting 101 tips. So as we kind of dive through this, we'll go over the worksheet here in a little bit. Avoid using the word want and instead use will, right? We talked about this just a little bit ago. Want is a statement of desire. You don't care if you achieve it. If you get it, cool. If you don't, no big deal. Will is a statement of commitment and action. And that's exactly what we just said. Even when we said be more confident, biggest thing we said was to take action. We're also going to ask you to write down your goals as it is today's date. It can be specific. It can be, March 2022. It could be, April 1st, 2031, whatever. It is insert date. And I am grateful for goal because. We ask that you put in the word because it gives us a deeper purpose and understanding on why it's important to you. So like for myself, snatching 200 pounds would be really, really cool. And it is a goal of mine. But if I don't have a clear desire to do so, then it's less significant. And I'd rather put my energy doing something else that would fulfill me. For these goals, you're going to have a fitness, nutrition goal, relationship, and then lifestyle, mental health, food, sleep, stress, all that stuff. So that's going to be sort of our goal setting tips. So now if we come over to our goal setting sheet, what it's going to look like, it's going to come here, right? So something we just went over, we just talked about is using will instead of want. We have plenty of bullet points, okay? And we're going to start with 10-year goals because that's our perfect day, right? Ideally, our perfect day was so extraordinary that unless we just went hamburgers, that we would achieve it next year. So for this exercise, we're just thinking 10 years out. So I give you guys examples for every single category. So for me, my 10-year goals by January of 2032, I will still be working out 5 to 6 days a week because I want to always feel strong and capable to live life. There you go. Good example, right? My relationship goals, it's April 2032. I have a strong relationship with Kinsey because I believe in having a great marriage leads to more fulfilling life for us and our kids. And yes, guys, we're going to get married. We're probably going to have kids. So get over it. But you see, like this is, I just don't say I want to have a strong relationship with Kinsey. I went a step further and I said, because I believe having a great marriage leads to a more fulfilling life for us and our kids. And I do believe that. And that is special to me. And the reason also why we add this because is whenever I want to give up on this, now it has more significance. And now I think, man, let's just say, for example, if I'm, just not wanting to connect with Kinsey, now I could just start to think like, what example am I trying to set for our kids? Do I really want to give my kids a fulfilled life? I guarantee you, once you have some significance, it's going to kick you in the ass. You're going to get rocking and rolling. Okay. Lifestyle. It's October 10th, 2030. I'm so grateful that I can go on morning hikes in Colorado 5 days a week because being out in nature inspires me and it makes me happy. I messed up the date there. I guess I didn't do math right. But anyway, there you go. So you're going to go through this. This is going to be your 10-year goals. So fitness, nutrition, relationship, lifestyle. Okay. Also in the lifestyle, guys, if you want to include your career, your finances, that's what it's for. Okay. You can include all of that in as well. For us and our sake, fitness and nutrition, it's helpful to keep that separate. And then relationship is just such a huge part, guys. And this doesn't need to be significant other, so here's a good example. I'll be enjoying numerous trips with my close family and friends because creating memories with people I love is important to me. So it doesn't have to just be strictly that, it could be maybe something that maybe you had a fallout with a sibling, or maybe you want to rekindle a relationship with an old friend. Like, there's those pieces to it as well. All right. So have fun with this. You can add bullet points here. If you save the document, you could write this down somewhere else. Guys, just enjoy. Have fun with this. This is really, really great. And this is just good for us just to kind of list out these goals, because once we get these 1-year goals, especially, now we could start to dissect them and say, what do I need to do in the next 30 days to start moving towards this goal? What is the next thing I need to do to start creating or start making these goals come alive? So that's what I have for our goal setting. So guys, take some time over Christmas. It's a great time to reflect, be happy, be whatever word. I can't think of any other words. It's been a long day. But yeah, so just be happy. Just sit in a room, play some cool music, get rocking. And then, yeah, if you have any questions, reach out to me. You can reach out to me personally, Manny, Manny at cfloveland.com. Love to answer any questions. This will be in the drive. And by the way, if you guys haven't seen the drive, I just compiled everything in here as well. This video will be in here also when we're done. So you'll see 22.1 was going to be the first week, 22.2 is going to be the second week, and then we'll do our third week next week. So I didn't show you guys the video. Anyway, all right, guys. Well, that's all I got. I hope you all have a Merry Christmas. Spend time with the people you love. Enjoy yourselves. I hope Santa was kind to you. And yeah, we'll see you guys next week. Peace.